is AEW successful? Why is Tony Khan running his promotion better than Vince McMahon and Bruce Pritchard are running Monday night and Friday night? Long-term booking.
What is going on, guys? Thank you so very much for stopping by the channel once again today. I got a little bit of extra for you. It is Thursday, March 31, 2022. I am JD from New York. As always, coming to you live from the OTS venue. Thank you guys so very much for joining me on your Thursdays, wherever you may be. It is a busy WrestleMania week, man, and we got more news coming out about Shane McMahon, more news about Cody Rhodes. We're going to dive right into it today on OTS Extra. Follow me on social media at JD from NY206. That's Twitter and Instagram. Hit that subscribe button down below. Turn on the bell for all notifications. Make sure you guys go check out all the other videos that you might have missed on the channel. Live on Monday for Raw. Live on Tuesday for NXT 2.0. Live last night for AEW Dynamite, where we talked about Toni Storm debuting with All Elite Wrestling. She is now in AEW, and that women's division hopefully is going to make a turn for the better with Toni Storm there and Thunder Rosa as the new AEW Women's Champion. Go check that out. There's an extra from yesterday. Off the Script 424 is there as well. WWE 2K22 content is there. Everything you guys need to get caught up on the homepage. Go check that out. Hit that thumbs up. Let's try for 1,000 likes minimum on today's OTS Extra. And as always, today's show is sponsored by Audible, audibletrial.com/script. 30 days free of their service and one free audiobook of your choice. Yesterday, we talked about Shane McMahon and why WWE was bringing in Shane McMahon for WrestleMania 38 weekend. Seth Rollins is having a blast on social media with all of this Shane McMahon rumor, Cody Rhodes rumor, who he's wrestling at WrestleMania 38 rumor. Seth Rollins having a grand old time on social media, tweeting out GIFs of Shane McMahon and Elias and Ali and even Marco Stunt. I seen a graphic made of Seth Rollins and Ryback at WrestleMania. You name it, man. People are having a very good time with this. And it's gotten to a point where everybody is legitimately interested in what Seth Rollins is doing at WrestleMania. Now, with the rumor of Shane McMahon coming to Dallas this WrestleMania weekend, this weekend, a lot of people are wondering if WWE's going to get ready to troll them. And instead of Cody, we're going to do Shane McMahon and Seth Rollins, and then Cody's going to show up on the Monday Night Raw after WrestleMania. Now, if you guys don't remember, Shane McMahon and Seth Rollins was the plan before the Royal Rumble, the disaster that was the Royal Rumble. That was the plan for Shane and Seth at WrestleMania. Those were scrapped because of the Royal Rumble disaster that was when Shane McMahon pretty much booked the match around himself, and the locker room revolted against management, and Shane McMahon was fired by his own father. Now, all of a sudden, we're starting to hear Shane McMahon's name again, and people are wondering if WWE is going to troll us with Shane McMahon. I said it yesterday on the extra that I uploaded. You guys can go check it out. Shane McMahon is not coming to WrestleMania 38 weekend. He's not showing up at WrestleMania 38 to necessarily wrestle Seth Rollins. I said it right from the top. He may be there just to see friends and family. He may be there because he wants to see the Hall of Fame. He wants to see The Undertaker get inducted into the Hall of Fame. Shane and The Undertaker had a WrestleMania match. Shane and The Undertaker and the McMahon family in general love Mark Calloway. He wants to be there for his friend. He wants to celebrate with his friend. Doesn't necessarily mean Shane McMahon's going to be wrestling Seth Rollins at WrestleMania. Now, I would find it hilarious. I don't care one way or the other. I'd laugh until I can't laugh anymore. I said it on social media. I would love to watch the world burn just for the 15 minutes that everybody's going crazy that Shane McMahon is wrestling Seth Rollins and not Cody Rhodes. And then Cody will show up on Monday, maybe. But Seth Rollins and Shane McMahon, it's a rumor right now. And there's more on why Shane McMahon is showing up at WrestleMania 38. Meltzer talked about this today on The Observer Live. Here's the deal, Meltzer said. He was going to go to WrestleMania no matter what. He goes to the Hall of Fame, every single Hall of Fame. He's always at the Hall of Fame. Of course he's going to go with Vince inducting The Undertaker into the Hall of Fame. There's always the chance that Vince is kayfabing everybody, and there's going to be something, but from what I was told, and this is from multiple people who are pretty high up on the food chain, you never know 100% because it's wrestling, and also it can change at any time. But as far as Shane McMahon on WrestleMania or something like that, on the creative team, his name has not been spoken about since January. It was never brought up. They are under the impression that he's just going to the Hall of Fame. He's going to hang out WrestleMania like he does every single year, and it's a non-story, and that people are making way too much of it. We will see. There's always the chance that they'll do something with him at the last minute. Meltzer said that the story of Shane being at the Hall of Fame is not a big deal because he would attend the ceremony even during the years when he was excommunicated by Vince and by WWE. I believe that part of it. But at the end of the day, if there is plans for Shane McMahon at WrestleMania, is Vince going to tell anybody? The only people that would know if Shane is wrestling Seth Rollins or if Shane is the surprise, the hand-chosen opponent by Vince McMahon for Seth Rollins, the only people that are going to know are Bruce Pritchard, Nick Khan, Vince McMahon, and Shane McMahon. That's it. Maybe John Laurinaitis, the usual suspects. Nobody's going to know. Meltzer's not going to know. Sapp's not going to know. WrestleGeeks is not going to know. All these people that think that they are in the know are not going to know. It's going to be closely guarded. It's going to be held in Fort Knox. Nobody's going to know anything. So there is a possibility. WWE is notorious for this. But like I said yesterday, and now Meltzer confirmed it, I think people are making a big deal about it. If it is, it is. If it's not Cody, don't worry about it. If Cody's going to WWE like I believe he is, he will show up on Monday Night Raw. Maybe WWE's thinking that they don't need Cody Rhodes for WrestleMania, that WrestleMania is already set. They got what they need. People are going to attend. They got all these surprises. Maybe they got The Rock. They got Stone Cold Steve Austin. They got Johnny Knoxville. They got everything the way that they want it to be. Maybe they don't need Cody Rhodes. Maybe they just save Cody Rhodes because he's going to get lost in the shuffle on WrestleMania weekend. They don't want him to feel like an insignificant part of the show. Maybe they just save him for Monday night after WrestleMania. We don't know. But I love the speculation, man. I'm fucking loving this shit. I really am. Cody Rhodes, even with him not doing anything, he's making things more interesting just by the fact that his name is being brought up. Is he there? Is he not going to be there? Is he going to back out, which I'll talk about in a second? It's crazy. It's crazy. But at the end of the day, this is great for WWE. People are talking about it. WrestleMania was dead going into it. It doesn't feel like WrestleMania season. If you think it is, you're setting the bar very low, man. You're settling for mediocrity. And if it does happen, great. Cody Rhodes gives me another reason, one reason besides Edge and maybe something else that I find interesting, Roman Reigns, that I will find interesting enough to care about WWE television. Cody is bringing that to the table. I'm very interested in seeing what's going on here, and I will keep you guys updated like I have. Every time something comes out, I will keep you guys updated on what's going on with Cody Rhodes. Speaking of Cody Rhodes, people close to Cody think that he could still back out of WrestleMania 38, and this is why a rumor started about Shane McMahon as well. Not only because of what I talked about, Hall of Fame, WrestleMania weekend, he wants to see friends and family, he wants to celebrate. Maybe Vince is bringing in Shane McMahon as plan B just in case Cody Rhodes says he doesn't want to do it. Cody Rhodes is expected to be revealed as Vince McMahon's hand-chosen opponent for Seth Rollins at WrestleMania. Following his departure from AEW, last month, the two sides could not reach an agreement on terms for a new deal. Rhodes started talking with WWE regarding return and reportedly has signed the deal with them. This is back 3 weeks ago that Cody has signed his new deal. Dave Meltzer, he spoke to Denise Shilcito on her show. And Dave Meltzer was asked, what reaction would the fans have if WWE swerved the fans with somebody else other than Rhodes at WrestleMania 38? This is where he noted that he knows people close to Cody Rhodes, which I believe he does, who think he still may end up backing out of returning to the company. Meltzer says, depending on who it is, it better be somebody good because everyone expects it and they kind of have to deliver on Cody Rhodes. If it's not him, it's his choosing. It's not theirs. They believe it's him. They believe that's the guy. If for whatever reason he backs out because he's going to back out, I don't expect that to happen, but I know people close to him who think that it may still be the case. We'll have to see how it plays out, end quote. It really may end up being smoke and mirrors for Cody Rhodes, but if the rumor is true and Cody Rhodes was offered $5 million to come back to the WWE and he's going to be making that type of money, I don't know why he would say no to that. Now, maybe Cody Rhodes is getting cold feet. Maybe he realizes at the end of the day that money may not be everything that he wants out of all this WWE, Cody Rhodes going back to WWE talk. Maybe he realizes that at the end of the day, his creative freedom is going to be handcuffed. Cody Rhodes is not going to have the level of freedom that he has with Vince McMahon, like he had with Tony Khan. He's not going to be able to go out there and be himself fully. He's now answering to somebody that micromanages every aspect of WWE television. They think they are right at every single twist and turn. You do what they want you to do. Tony Khan let Cody Rhodes go out there, say what he wanted. As long as it was approved by management, he let him go out there and wrestle the way he wanted. He let him go out there and tell the stories that he wanted to tell the way that he wanted them to be told. He's not going to have that level of freedom in WWE. I find it very difficult to believe how any of this is going to work in Cody Rhodes' favor. I hope we get some of that, but I don't think Cody Rhodes is going to be given the level of freedom 100% that he had in AEW, and I don't think you guys should really believe all of that either. Cody Rhodes is going to be handcuffed. This is an outsider coming in. Yes, he was born and raised within the WWE Foundation, but Cody Rhodes was an outsider. Cody Rhodes went and started a rival promotion with his vision along with others who wanted to actively change the game. Change the game from what WWE was doing. You think that Vince McMahon's going to ultimately 100% welcome Cody Rhodes into the WWE to let him do whatever he wants? There may be a nice little period where he comes in first couple of months. Cody Rhodes is the fucking greatest thing ever. But at the end of the day, he's going to settle into a role, and Vince is going to have him, force him settle into a role that he doesn't necessarily want to be in. And Vince is going to latch the claws in like he usually does, and things are going to be off to the running about Cody Rhodes being pretty much irrelevant in WWE. And I don't mean irrelevant like fucking Ali or Cedric Alexander or Shelton Benjamin. I mean irrelevant to a point where we see guys like Ricochet, Finn Balor, Damian Priest, guys like that in the mid-card, and that's where Cody Rhodes is going to remain for the duration of his WWE run. That's what I'm afraid of. That's what I'm afraid of. If there's a model for WWE to follow here, change nothing about what Cody Rhodes has done from AEW, change nothing about his presentation, nothing about his music, nothing about the way Cody Rhodes operates. And if there's a foundation to follow and a blueprint to follow here, just take what WWE's done with Edge. That's what I want Cody Rhodes to be. Cody Rhodes doesn't need to wrestle on TV every week. Cody Rhodes doesn't need to be in nothing matches every week. Cody Rhodes should be there like Edge is there. Same thing, same way, same feel. If Cody Rhodes is there every week, it's not going to be special anymore. And Cody Rhodes, at the end of the day, I honestly think this all is revolving back and forth in the back of his mind. He's thinking about exactly what I told you. Is there a way that WWE doesn't get Cody Rhodes? Yes. Do I think Cody Rhodes has the potential to back out? Yes, I do think that he's been thinking about all this. I do. But I'm going to level with all of you. No matter what I say here, I do think he shows up on Saturday night. I do think it's Cody Rhodes versus Seth Rollins. I will be excited to see him. I will be excited to see him on television because there's nothing like Cody Rhodes on WWE television right now. Like I've been saying for weeks, WWE needs Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes doesn't need WWE. He can go anywhere he wants and make that type of money. He can go anywhere he wants and gain the traction that he apparently is getting here from all the rumor and innuendo about him going to WWE and wrestling Seth Rollins. He can go and do whatever he wants. He doesn't need WWE. And I think at the end of the day, he really does understand that. But it's the payday. It's the ego. That's why he's going. Cody Rhodes needs to remain special. I hope WWE knows what they're getting into with Cody Rhodes. And again, you know, with Cody Rhodes going there to WWE, everybody in that AEW locker room who may be wanting to test the waters and maybe do something different. Maybe they hit a ceiling in AEW. If Cody Rhodes is treated well, it may open the door for others to join WWE. If Cody Rhodes is still being treated at that point very well by management and very well by creative. Ronda Rousey, apparently not told that Steve Austin and Kevin Owens will close WrestleMania Saturday. It was reported earlier this week that Kevin Owens and Stone Cold Steve Austin would close out WrestleMania Saturday. This was confirmed when Owens referred to his KO show segment as the main event of WrestleMania Night 1. Dave Meltzer stated on Wrestling Observer Radio that Owens was told to refer to his segment with Austin as the main event, so that was not an ad lib. WWE's been doing this with everybody. Owens and Austin, main event. Bianca Belair and Becky Lynch, main event. There's only one main event for WrestleMania, and that's Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar for the WWE and Universal Championships. That's it. Whatever happens on night 1 to me is not the main event. That is the main event of WrestleMania. Everything else is much less than Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns. But I find it funny how WWE is now asking everybody to go out there and say that they're the main event of WrestleMania. No, you're not. No, you're not. It sounds fucking ridiculous. Meltzer says, if you remember, Kevin Owens was scripted to say that he was in the main event of WrestleMania. On Monday night, he was very clearly in the main event on Monday night. He didn't say that off the cuff. He was told, you say that when you go out there. Tuesday, Ronda Rousey was on the Ellen DeGeneres show, and she says she's in the main event on Saturday against Charlotte Flair. So I'm thinking, wow, it's probably Kevin Owens. I know he was scripted on Raw, and they probably never told Ronda because the plan all along from the day of the Royal Rumble until close on Monday, because even midweek, it was still Ronda Rousey in the main event. I'm guessing that they never told Ronda that they've changed it. Meltzer went on to say, Vince is going back and forth. Nobody knows, and who knows? When Kevin Owens made that proclamation, shouldn't that be like the decision, and shouldn't Ronda be aware of that? Well, it keeps going back and forth. Vince keeps changing his mind. Whatever happens, it keeps going back and forth. WWE made these small changes to the lineup in the last couple of weeks, and changes can be expected all the way up to the day of the show. Officially, KO and Austin is the main event on Saturday, and there is still time for that to change, end quote. WWE, they are going to go back and forth, and we're going to hear more about this in the next 72 hours, no question. Kermit, this insider on Reddit, if you guys heard me mention this name, he apparently is in the know. He has stated, not once but twice, that Kevin Owens and Stone Cold Steve Austin will be closing WrestleMania Night 1. Now, if they didn't tell Ronda, I mean, I'm not going to feel bad for Ronda. Ronda knows exactly what she's getting into with WWE, and that is a cold, hard reality about how WWE operates. The right hand doesn't know what the left hand is doing. If Ronda Rousey and Charlotte Flair is the main event of WrestleMania, this is a fucking disaster waiting to happen. The feud sucks. Ronda has absolutely botched her return. WWE has not made it any better. WWE needs to, and I'm telling you all this right now, WWE needs to get Ronda away from the microphone and give her Paul Heyman. That's what they need to do for Ronda Rousey. Ronda Rousey needs to go heel, and Ronda Rousey needs Paul Heyman to do the talking for her. That's what's going to make Ronda Rousey much more interesting. I may actually change my tune on Ronda Rousey if that is the case. WWE has botched this feud. Charlotte's not made it any better. Ronda has not made it any better. Doesn't feel like a main event. The story is non-existent, and I don't really care for either one of them because of the way they've been portrayed on television. Stone Cold Steve Austin is back after 19 years in something closer to a wrestling match than he's ever been in 19 years. They're obviously advertising it as a KO show, but it will be a brawl. It will be more like a street fight. It will start off as a KO show, and then it will materialize into something like a street fight. It may go 10, 12 minutes for all we know. If it's the main event, something a lot more than a talk show is going to happen. That's what we need to see. That's what's going to close WrestleMania. Beer, chaos, Stone Cold Steve Austin, the glass shattering, fans going crazy in Dallas, his hometown. That's it. If Ronda and Charlotte go on last, and this goes on before it, right? If Stone Cold and KO go on before Ronda and Charlotte, there will be absolute disastrous outcomes for both Ronda and Charlotte and that entire match. Nobody will care. People will leave. It will be booed out of the building. And that's what people are paying to see for night one. And whatever else they get, they get. But that is the cherry on top of their WrestleMania Saturday. It's KO and Stone Cold Steve Austin. If you put this on in the middle of the show and then you do Charlotte and Ronda, it's going to be the same thing. Steve Austin needs to close the show. I am not for a talk show segment to close WrestleMania, but this year is different. This is Charlotte and Ronda and the disaster that their feud has been. Anything to keep that away from the main event. Plus, I actually get my joy out of seeing Charlotte, who probably lobbied and politicked for a main event WrestleMania spot, to be moved down the ladder, and now she's the co-main event. Not really the main event of WrestleMania, regardless, and now you're the co-main event of night one. You thought you were slick, politicking to get a main event because Ronda's coming back. Yeah, let me do it instead of Becky first. We got Bianca to finish up shit with Becky. So that's why I'm happy about it as well. Just a smidgen. But KO and Stone Cold need to end the show. And WWE is going to go back and forth on it. And I hope that they really take all of what I said into consideration. They do not want that match to come off worse on top of what we've already seen. It's been pretty bad so far. And if they put it on in the main event, forget about it. Nobody's ever going to recover from that. It will be disaster for both Ronda and Charlotte Flair. Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman has been mentioning MJF quite a bit lately. Paul Heyman was interviewed with Ariel Helwani 1 week after MJF was interviewed with Ariel Helwani. He was talking about opposing Lesnar, MJF's upcoming free agency, and his thoughts on Cody Rhodes leaving AEW. Heyman was asked what it's like to be on the opposite side of the ring from Brock Lesnar. He says, it's the same as being in his corner. It's nothing but money. It's a cash cow working with or against Brock Lesnar, especially when you are tied up at the hip to the single biggest attraction in the entire industry, the undisputed, universal heavyweight champion in Roman Reigns. It's a blast. Why wouldn't it be a blast? I'm still talking about Brock Lesnar just from the opposite side of the spectrum. Paul Heyman knows how to make money, and he knows what Brock Lesnar is better than anybody. So that was a great answer from Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman talked about MJF and about the upcoming free agency that MJF's been talking about in 2024. For what he obviously views his trajectory to be, and from what I know, he obviously views his future to be, it's not bad business at all. It's pretty smart, I might even say. If Heyman would be interested in working with MJF, he said right now he's in a very enviable spot. He is in an upstart promotion that has tremendous financial and excellent distribution. Financing and excellent distribution. Let's see what the future holds for him. I'm sure at some point in this life, we are going to bump into each other. I would love to see that happen, actually. I think that would be... Can you imagine Paul Heyman and MJF on the microphone together, going face-to-face, toe-to-toe, promo-wise? Holy shit. You talk about money being made. You talk about must-see television. It may end up happening, for all we know. Heyman's there for quite a while. We may see MJF jump ship in 2024. We don't know. I don't think it'll happen, but we don't know. Money talks. Heyman off on if he was surprised Cody left AEW. He's one of the founders of the company. A lot of it is his concept. A lot of the initial phase was on him. Cody always had a vision to fill the boots of his father, not just being in the ring, but behind the scenes. The fact that he didn't have the level of participation in the decision-making that he initially probably thought, and this is speculation on my end, I've never heard this from Cody, just seeing the manner in which creative and the creative end of the company grew. It doesn't surprise me at some point he was going to say, not what I originally envisioned, and I want to see what life is like elsewhere. So when a founder of the company whose initial vision it was, or part of it was, leaves, that's always surprising. Knowing what I know, and that's adamantly very little of the circumstances, I am not so surprised, end quote. A lot of Cody Rhodes talk, man. A lot of people are bringing up Cody Rhodes, no matter what interview, no matter who they are interviewing. It doesn't necessarily have to do anything with Cody or Seth Rollins or what they are rumored to be doing at WrestleMania, but everybody's talking about Cody Rhodes very lightheartedly, man. A lot of Cody Rhodes just out there, not being afraid of mentioning Cody Rhodes in any sense of the word. At the end of the day, Saturday night, Seth Rollins, Cody Rhodes music hits, and he's out there wrestling Seth Rollins. I'm still going with it. But if it is Shane McMahon or anybody else except Cody Rhodes, I'm going to watch the world burn, like I said, on social media with a ice, and I mean ice cold beverage. Guys, that's all I got for this Off the Script Extra. If you enjoyed today's upload, let me know down below in the comment section. Do you think Cody Rhodes is going to back out of WrestleMania 38? Do you think WWE has a plan B in place? And will they be going with plan B? Because Cody Rhodes wants nothing to do in the 11th hour with WWE. Let me know what you guys think down below. Hit that thumbs up, guys. 1,000 likes minimum on today's OTS Extra. Make sure you hit that subscribe button down below. Turn on the bell for notifications. And please go check out all the other videos that you might have missed on the channel. This week alone, there's some great content, live streams. If you missed them, go and check it out. Let me know what you guys think down below about everything. I'll see you back tomorrow night. Remember, programming note, Ring of Honor, Supercard of Honor. We'll be reviewing that show and not SmackDown. So I'll be live after that show goes off the air right here on Off the Script. Guys, enjoy your Thursdays. And I'll see you live for Ring of Honor, Supercard of Honor tomorrow night right here from the OTS venue. I'll see you guys later.